We came a long way so far. I thank you, who had enough will to follow me from the beginning to get better. I congratulate you for gaining the knowledge needed to make changes. What I wish is that you repeatedly read this book in any way possible and fully understand it. It is because nobody can fully perceive and completely understand everything at one go. You will have to practice even more to apply what you have learned to yourself. I hope you get to understand OCD as much as I do. Change equates to learning. When you learn something properly, it becomes an experience imprinted in your mind. For this to happen, you need to be emotionally awakened constantly. This is why I strongly recommend you to give an impetus to yourself by reading this book again and again and achieving emotional awakening. You will gain new insights every time you go through this book. I wrote this book thinking about the real patients who are suffering from OCD. I looked at OCD from various angles and introduced many different cases. This is to make you absorb the content by repetition. The diverse cases I introduced will help you understand your OCD clearly and get better. I tried to use analogies as much as possible to make it easier for you to physically accept the content of this book. I hope my efforts bear fruit. OCD makes you imagine the worst-case scenario. A person with contamination obsession thinks she can contract life-threatening disease when she makes contact with an insignificant germ that people normally ignore. A person with checking obsession thinks that serious harm will be caused if she stops checking. Symptoms like washing hands, thinking about shocking things, and having physical reactions are caused by the delusion you have created to find the causes of your anxiety. It is the imagination you created that will never be realized. Without the correct understanding and prescription, you will only end up trying in vain. I have seen many patients wandering about due to their faulty understanding of OCD. I know it won't be able to fix everyone, but I know that the content of this book can sow a seed for recovery. Please stop hiding. You cannot use your OCD as a means of running away. Like I said earlier, I want you to imagine yourself free from your obsessive symptoms. It will be the image of a lively person who is completely healed. Imagine what your life would be like when you are healed. Sadly enough, in many cases, the lives of the patients who are healed are not all sunshine and rainbows. It is because living without OCD feels awkward to them. You might also feel lost without your OCD. You might have to face your failures all alone in the world. The world will still be burdensome. It is likely that your OCD was the only way and reason to run away from reality. Until now, I talked about the fundamental causes of OCD with the psychological principles and the cases. In most of the cases, such fundamental causes are connected to people's identities. An identity, which exhibits the fundamental values of a person should have, is formed to support the presence of the person. It is the part of a person that must be kept consistent. It also is the part that is the most difficult to change. This is why your mind tries to avoid the situations that are likely to threaten your identity. Your OCD is the imaginary pain you have created to avoid such situations. To avoid them, your mind decided to hide certain thoughts and emotions and chose OCD. It is no wonder you feel that it will be hard to break away from OCD. However, it still is better to face the truth than living with false pain. The courage to face the pain in real life is much more beautiful than a life tainted with OCD. It is because such effort is truthful. Your anxiety about failures are created by you. Nobody has the right to judge other people's life. In fact, nobody can judge other people's life. It is you who have been making judgment on your life. You have been doing so by punishing yourself. You are a good person. You feel pity, gratitude, and love for other people. But why aren't you expressing such feelings to the world? What made you become a person who can only express fear and anxiety? What about the other feelings such as anger, sadness, and hatred? Why are you suppressing a multitude of emotions? Like I explained throughout this book, there must be the experiences and the symbolic psychological structures that made you suppress your emotions. I heard that when a child is deprived of emotional exchange prior to age 3, he will act like as if he had no emotions. Maybe your emotions were disrespected when you were growing up. Maybe you trusted a stern guardian who ordered you to do this and do that. Maybe you started to think that being unable to live up to his/her expectations was a bad thing to do and hid your emotions and desires unfit to such expectations. Maybe, staying still as if nothing happened, was the only thing you could do. Maybe you thought that it was a mature thing to do. It was because people around you did not emphasize with the emotions you should have felt. It is likely that you hid your emotions and refused to show them because of them. You were scared of revealing and expressing your hidden emotions. You were afraid of people around you having no empathy in your feelings and being abandoned by them. You are feeling anxious because you have such strong emotions inside your mind that you still must hide. To reveal your emotions is to reveal your desires. You are afraid of being punished for having desires. This is the reason why you started to hide. You started to live a lie. You created a prison for yourself. Just at the moment when I was about to finish writing this book, one of my old patients called me. It has been a while talking to you. Today is a good day. I think I don't have obsessive thoughts anymore. After I stopped checking obsessively, I was left with my obsessive thoughts. I had a hard time. I was afraid. Then, suddenly, the thoughts disappeared. It was as if the demon inside me was exorcised. My responsive thoughts were completely gone. I think I broke away from my perfectionism at that moment. A notion of perfection is relative. Something that seems imperfect to me can look perfect to other people. Thinking like that, I was able to stop the thoughts I used to have which have urged me to try to understand and respond all the time. A week has passed since then. Even though I am still troubled, I feel at ease a little bit more. I know I have to go a long way and learn much more. I intend to try one step at a time, accepting this as the disease of my mind. I called to let you know because I thought that this would be a good news to you, too. It surely was a good news. I hope that many more people realize the causes of their OCD and get healed by reading this book. I wish this book to be their ray of hope. As I said at the beginning, I hope that this book sows seeds of hope in the barren field of OCD treatment. I believe that someone will be healed because what I introduced is a treatment method that hasn't been introduced. Already, a lot of people have succeeded in curing themselves. So, don't ever give up. I sincerely hope you complete this race and redeem your true self.